intellectual clarity, and spiritual conviction. These are the two pillars of true discipleship. 23rd August 2020, the 21st Sunday of the Ordinary Times. Today we have a very familiar passage in the Gospel where Jesus is asking his disciples, "Who do the people say that he is?" And then further, he is asking them, "Who do they, the disciples, say he is?" Now, a question comes in our minds. Why such a question comes in Jesus' mind? What is the purpose? What is the reason why Jesus is asking such a question? Is it to boost up his own self image or to show to his disciples how great he is among the people and so on? I don't think so, because the significance of the question is manifested by what follows this question, that is from verses 21 onwards. In the Gospel of Matthew, there are 4 occasions where Jesus predicts his death on the cross in the chapters 17, 20, and 26, and today's Gospel passage, chapter 16. So today's passage is the first occasion that he speaks about his passion and death on the cross. So before he breaks out this frightening news of passion to the disciples, he likes to prepare them well. He prepares them because unless they know him, they cannot follow him. Now the disciples may be happy and satisfied that they get food, rest, and good treatment in most of the places as they accompany their master Jesus, the popular preacher and healer. Life now goes on smoothly, but Jesus is aware that soon he has to face the tough challenges, even to the extent of giving up on the cross. So Jesus wonders, are my disciples ready for that challenging situation? Will they survive? Will they withstand those big problems and persecutions? So he naturally wants to know whether they know him enough and how much they know him enough, and whether they have a right understanding of him. Because only this knowledge will enable them to undergo all the tough situations and all persecutions that they would be facing in their lives on account of following Jesus. This knowledge will lead them to experience him more closely and more intimately at the level of their being. So, this intellectual knowing and the spiritual experience will enable them to face the tough challenges. A popular saying goes as follows: when the going gets tough, only the tough get going. We need to have personal knowledge about the one to whom we commit ourselves. Without knowledge, how can we commit ourselves? Without commitment, how can we follow him or her? For instance, a simple example. Imagine you are at a public place, lots of people around you, say a bus station or railway station. Someone is loudly calling out your name. When will you respond? Only if you know the person, you will respond to him or her. For instance, my name is Stephen. I hear someone calling out loudly, "Stephen, Stephen," in the crowd. I just turn back to see who is calling me. Unless I know the person who calls me, I will not respond to him or her. I will think that there is some other Stephen in the crowd and he is calling out that Stephen and not me. So, even in the simple matter of responding to someone's call, we need to know the person who is calling out. Then, in much more serious cases, like committing ourselves to a way of life, to become the ardent followers of Jesus, we certainly need to know him very well. What is our understanding of Jesus today? What do we know about him? Usually, all our understanding is from our catechism classes of our childhood. Are we updating our knowledge about Him and His teachings? In many other aspects of life, we make sure to grow more in our knowledge, in our skills, in our riches, and so on. We inquire and search for better ways of investing our money. Which bank or insurance company gives us better returns? Or we look for purchasing lands in a very good locality where there will be future developments, etc., so that our money will get multiplied several times. Similarly, about our children's schools and their future and their studies, we make sure to choose the best school and the course of studies for better future for our children. There is nothing wrong in all these things, provided we do it in an honest manner. But what about our efforts in knowing more about Jesus or his teachings? We use the internet for several purposes, but have you browsed it to know more about the Bible, more about Jesus' teachings, or the teachings of the church, or about the sacraments and so on? So, unless we know Him more, unless we know Him deeply, how can we commit ourselves to follow Him? We need to know clearly what we believe. Without clarity, we don't know what we believe, and without knowing what we believe, how can we commit ourselves to that teaching or the way of life? Secondly, from this knowledge level, we need to move to the level of experience. Otherwise, only the intellectual knowing will not really give us the courage and the strength to follow Jesus. St. Peter himself is a very appropriate example here. When other disciples give different answers to the question of Jesus, Peter clearly declares, Jesus, you are the Christ, the Son of living God. And Jesus is very much pleased with the right answer and he happily awards him. He says, you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the powers of death shall not prevail against it. I will give the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. A question arises in our minds. Peter, who gives the right answer, who is highly appreciated and honored by Jesus, who is made very powerful to bind and loosen on the earth and heaven, such Peter, he unfortunately denies Jesus at a later time when Jesus is arrested on the Maundy Thursday. But again, another question arises. This frightened, timid Peter, who denies Jesus 3 times, is still at a later stage able to die a martyr's death. He is killed by Roman Emperor Nero in the year 64 AD. When they crucified him, he pleaded them to crucify him upside down, as he was not worthy to be crucified like his master Jesus. So he was crucified upside down, and that is why St. Peter's cross will be upside down, where the horizontal bar is at the bottom, not at the top, as we see in the usual cross. In my opinion, when Peter declares Jesus to be the Messiah and the Son of God, he is perhaps speaking from the intellectual level. In spite of his being with Jesus, listening to all his teachings and witnessing to his miracles, he is not strong enough to acknowledge Jesus, and therefore he denies Jesus 3 times. But later, after the resurrection, Peter experiences Jesus very closely and intimately. During the apparitions, he encounters Jesus very closely, and that enables him to give up his life as a martyr. So it's clear that the intellectual clarity and the spiritual experience are very essential to be a true, genuine follower, disciple of Jesus. Once there was a competition of reciting the Psalm 23, The Lord is my shepherd. Many participated. A young girl beautifully sang the psalm in a very gave her applause and appreciated her. Following her, a senior priest came up to the stage and began to recite the psalm in his delicate and wobbly voice. Just as he finished it, everyone stood up to give a standing ovation to that priest. Finally, when the jury declared the results, that old senior priest was given the first prize, and the representative of the jury told the audience, "Many participated here. They came here to recite or sing the psalm beautifully. The Lord is my shepherd. They all did a very good job, we must say, but still we chose this old priest for the first prize because all the others know the psalm, the Lord is my good shepherd, very well, but this priest is the one who knows the shepherd very well." Yes, that is the difference of knowing the psalm, the Lord is my shepherd, and knowing the shepherd himself. In our efforts to be a committed follower of Jesus, to face the struggles and challenges on account of Him, we need both the intellectual clarity and the spiritual experience. Finally, if someone asks us, "Who is Jesus to us individually and personally?" what would be our answer? If someone asks me, "Who is Jesus?" perhaps I would say, Jesus is Co-Stephen, Co-Stephen. My name is Stephen, and Jesus is Co-Stephen for me. Yes, Jesus is complementing this poor Stephen. Yes, whatever is lacking in me, he is there to make it full and complete. All that is lacking in me, physically, intellectually, emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually, lot of things lack in me, and it is Jesus who makes me complete to be an instrument in his hands. Similarly, I am also needed for Jesus in a way. Yes, if Jesus wants to wipe away the tears of someone today, he needs my hands to do the job. If Jesus wants to visit a sick person today, he needs my legs to walk towards him or her. If Jesus wants to console someone today, he needs my words. Yes, in that sense, I can humbly say I am needed for Jesus as well. Now, perhaps you can use your own names, for instance, Justin, Brito, James, Jacinta, Josephine, or Pauline, whatever your name may be, then for you, Jesus becomes Co James, Co Justin, Co Pauline, Co Josephine, and so on. Hope it makes some sense. Let us think about it today and be convinced of the need for intellectual clarity and the spiritual experience to become true followers and disciples of Jesus. Thank you.